All right, it is Wednesday night. That means there is another episode of the Everything NYJ podcast. We love Wednesday nights. Episode number 34 coming to you live. As you guys may see, we have a very special guest. We have Jack Green Santa, aka Frank. How you doing, my friend?
All right, how you fellas doing?
Doing
Good, good.
good.
We were also joined by my lovely co-host Gino Pagano. I am Liam Johnson, as always. Welcome into episode number 34 of the Everything NYJ podcast. So before we get into the video, I just wanted to mention you could follow us on all social media platforms, on Facebook at Gino Antonio Pagano, on Twitter at Everything NYJ, and on Instagram at _Everything NYJ. Frank, where can we find you on social media?
Jack Green Santa on Instagram, and I think it's just my name on Facebook, Frank West. It used to be Jack Green Santa, but then they booted me off like 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, they said I wasn't a real person.
I've had a couple.
No. Well, it was when the Jets inducted me into the Fan Hall of Fame in like a 3-hour span. I guess while my name was up on the screen or whatever, everybody started like friend requesting me, and I got like, I don't know, 10 or 15,000 friend requests in a couple hour span. So they just shut me down, and
Oh wow.
you try to argue your case, and they're like, "Oh, we'll get to it when we get to it." So, but then Claudio and Louis convinced me to get back in, so I started a new one.
There you go.
There you go. I love it.
Nice,
I love
nice,
it. Well,
nice.
Frank, I did this for you tonight. So I got the Super Bowl ring out. I got Mark Gastineau jersey on for you.
Nice. And he froze.
Gino's frozen. That's
But at least
right.
he froze with the Jets logo dead center in the screen.
Yeah. He
I could
couldn't
look
have
at
frozen
that
any
logo.
better.
No, that's perfect. Perfect. Just like that.
He'll be back. Yeah, he'll come back. Not worried about it. So, before we get into the video, everybody, while Gino's frozen, I guess I'll just plug us real quick. I just wanted to mention that if you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out here. Helps us continue to bring, wonderful guests like Frank on. Hopefully we'll get Gino on Frozen. I don't know what's going on with him. Oh, that's funny. Gino, can you hear us? I don't even know if he could hear us. We are live on the air, and Gino's frozen, so it's just me and Frank hanging out right now. I guess I'll give him a second. I don't know what's going on. Oh,
Well,
wait. Oh,
he'll be
he's
back
off.
in a second.
He'll
He'll
be
be
off.
back.
He's off. Yeah. Hopefully. Gino, come back. I miss you already. So getting to, some news real quick. They signed Craig James from the cornerback from the Eagles. You hear about that, Frank?
I saw it briefly on social media. Didn't get a chance to do any kind of research on it yet, but Joe Douglas is building a monster, dude. This is the best time of the year to be a Jet fan. We're always winning the Super Bowl.
Absolutely, absolutely. I didn't know much about him, honestly. Like I said he was a safety on Twitter. I'd apologize for that. As soon as you get anything wrong on Twitter, people start coming at you.
Well, of course.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'm sorry, my bad. So I'm gonna see if we can invite Gino back in here. I don't think I can. I think he just has to come back on his own. He knows he knows how to get back in. All right, whatever. If he comes back, he does. Hopefully, we have a live show to get on with. So, so Frank, why don't you tell me about yourself a little bit? How did Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Okay. I was saying, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Like what's it like being a Jets fan? Where you're from, a couple things.
I'm from just outside the city. It's like literally, if I look down my block, I could see Staten Island. If I look across the street, Brooklyn's off in the distance, and then Manhattan's just north of me. I'm over in Hudson County, New Jersey, but grew up my whole life in the same area. Been a Jet fan my whole life. It's unexplainable. I don't know. My mom's theory is my favorite color has been green since I was an infant, so that's what we're going
with it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just can't remember not being a Jets fan.
Absolutely, yeah, I know what that's like. My whole, like when I was born, like in like my crib, like around like like my baby room, I had like a Crepet jersey hanging up. I had like a Jets like flag. It's just, it's just I was born into it. So
Yeah.
Gino just texted me saying, "Yeah, sorry, I'm coming back." So I guess we'll give him a second because he likes to do the questions. I normally do the intros and stuff, and he hits us with the questions. But all right. So anyway, moving on. So let's see, what is he saying here? All right, yeah. All right, he's coming back in a second, apparently. So how long have you been with Gotham City for now?
Well, I've
Like,
known those guys
what's that?
I'm sorry, I stepped on you.
I was just saying. No, it's okay. I was just saying, like, what is that experience like?
Oh, they're a great bunch of guys, man. I've known them for a long time, but I had my thing going on. They had their thing going on. We just couldn't really line it up. And then, post COVID, everybody's tailgates kind of took a little bit of a dip because some people gave up their seats or just they weren't as high strung about it as they were in like 2019 and earlier. I'm not gonna lie to you, the record hasn't helped much. You got a lot of fair weather fans that don't come out when they're not doing so great. But yeah, last season I made the decision about midway through that all right, we're gonna make this happen. So I finished out last year with Gotham City Crew, and it was great because we have the same mindset. Like it's about having a good time. Like
Absolutely.
people say to us all the time, like how can you be a fan of a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl in your lifetime and like all this nonsense. I'm like, man, I'm undefeated. I've never lost a game. I go to a game to have a good time, and I do, win or lose. I mean, is it a little bit more fun when they win? Sure, because then you gloat and talk about the highlights and everything else. But you go there to see a show, and they put one on. I mean, for the most part, even losses are close. You keep it exciting,
Yeah, for the most part, sometimes it's a circus with them instead of a show.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, the show.
Yeah,
but but like you said though, like the record in the past couple years hasn't helped. I say all the time, like in 2020, if like when the Jets went 2-14 that year, if there was fans in MetLife, I don't know what would have happened. They would have burnt that place down to the ground with some of those losses. What Gase's last year, that was just rough stuff, man. Really rough stuff. So I think that was like their one saving grace.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, but I mean you never really. You always hear we get a bad rap. Jet fans get a bad rap, but you never really see or hear of them doing damage like that, like at other stadiums. Like you mentioned burning the stadium down. I mean, I'm sure that the ticket reps would have earaches from hearing all the phone calls that were coming in, but that's about it. I mean, I don't know. Like I said,
it is what it is, man.
Gotham City, we're there to have fun, and that's what we do. It's just, and these other two guys, they're like I got the whole cooking down, right? I don't know. Can we put up pictures or no? I don't know how to do that on this thing.
I don't know either, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't know.
Gino's the tech guy, and our tech guy is MIA right now.
We're probably like way ahead of things. He probably had a list of things he wanted me to talk about, and I'm just kind of bouncing all over the place.
He did.
Yeah, but I built like a tailgate trailer, right? And it's got some great equipment on. I got a pressurized smoker. I could knock out 45 rib. I could knock out 9 racks of ribs in like 45 minutes to an hour. It's got a 3-well steam table, so I can keep everything hot. Or if like the colder games, if you want to serve things like soups and stuff like that, just let them do their thing over there. I got an infrared grill on it. I got a 36-inch griddle, and I got a 9-gallon deep fryer. So I could cook just about any type of food anywhere I could get my truck to tow it.
Oh, look at you, man! Wow.
And then the other two guys between Louis and Claudio, I mean, they have a whole DJ setup going on. They have all of the games come out, the cornhole and the flip cup and all of that, and it's literally like going to a carnival. It really is like, and then you're like, oh wait, there's a football game after this, and then go inside to the game, But yeah, I think the tailgate alone is worth the price of admission.
Right. So for those who don't know, like, what is the price and stuff? Like, what do you guys typically charge?
Well, it's not that we necessarily charge. It's a shared expense. So, like, depending on how much money we put out, we divide it up between how many people are going to be there. So, we got it usually comes out to about $60.
Nice. That's not bad at all. So yeah, what I do know of you, you are quite the cook. I saw that you were on Chopped.
Yes, I was. Yeah, that was a few years ago. Yeah, I ended up. Spoiler: I ended up winning, and that's how I funded the build of my trailer.
Oh wow!
They give you $10,000, which is a nice chunk of change, but it's not going to change my life. You know what I mean? It's not like I didn't have to worry about paying the kids' tuition anymore or something like that. So I figured I got there from tailgating, let's dump that 10 grand into tailgating. So, I mean, the opportunity
That's
came
awesome.
up where a trailer was available, and it was a heavy duty commercial trailer. It was something they call Earth Camp. You would see them on the side of highways and construction sites. It's got a 30-foot boom on it and a PTZ camera, so you could like watch remotely. There was boxes with computers and batteries and solar panels. Well, it ended up getting destroyed a few years earlier in a hurricane, Hurricane Sandy. So it was getting scrapped. It was getting scrapped. So I said, I'll take it. And I stripped everything off that I could unbolt. Then a friend of mine is a mechanic. He does a little welding. I borrowed some of his tools. I watched a lot of YouTube, cut a bunch of things off. Called another buddy of mine that's the iron worker. He's like, yeah, I could help you learn how to weld. And we did it. I mean, I drew it all up. I designed it all myself. A couple of friends helped me tack it all in there and then finish up the welds. And I brought it to a sheet metal guy and wrapped it all in diamond plate. So it looks like a professional job, but it's really something I built in my buddy's garage.
That's awesome, though, man. You got to make it what you want. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
cool. I'll tell you a secret. I'm gonna tell you a secret. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah. Okay.
I just got another trailer.
Oh man, when are we gonna see that guy?
Probably next season.
Okay, something to look forward to.
Because somebody made a comment last season. They said the only thing you can't cook on here is a pizza. And that pissed me off a little bit.
The hell I can't.
Yeah, you said, fuck this. I'm building a mobile pizzeria next.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a pizza oven, small grill, and a side burner for making sauce and stuff like that on. But yeah, we should see that by next year.
Nice. So how are you gonna be like between both trailers? I guess like you're just gonna one kind of go and then just run back and forth, I guess.
Well, I guess it's going to come down to the amount of guests we're going to have. Like if people call up ahead of time and we know how many people we're going to have, I'll decide if I need the big trailer to do all of the food, or if I just need to pizza and pasta will be enough. Then for a smaller crew. But if it's going to be really off the chain, like maybe next year's home opener, Louis and Claudio both have buses, all wrapped
right,
with paraphernalia and everything. So they could tow one. I'll tow one with my truck.
Right.
Louis already tows the trailer with all of the games and stuff in it and the tents and everything. So we can make it happen. We'll get them both there.
It's going to
be biblical. It's going to be out of control.
All right. So you guys bring all that stuff to MetLife. So all these years of going to MetLife, and I'm sure you were at Giant Stadium before it was MetLife.
I don't know.
What is your...
No. The old stadium?
Yeah.
There was something we called the old stadium, but I don't.
The old stadium.
Something else. I don't talk about that. I don't. No.
I called it a taboo. You're right. I did.
The old stadium. Yeah.
The one with the red seats.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Not really jet colors.
Moving.
Anywho. So, do you have one favorite memory inside of that stadium?
The old stadium.
One that just sticks out. Yeah, I guess we'll go with both. From the old stadium and then MetLife, if you have.
The old stadium is more of it's a personal one. Everybody would probably, people that know me would probably expect me to say my first game ever was September 25th of September 21st of 1986. It was Wesley Walker's 4-touchdown game.
Okay.
And if you watch the draft, you saw me wearing the Wesley Walker jersey. I always wear Wesley Walker jersey. He's actually a friend of mine now. And I could give you the whole thing in detail, like from the time I got picked up. I know the song that was on the radio and everything. But the reality of it is my favorite memory at that old stadium was probably my son's first game.
Okay.
Yeah, 2007-ish. He was about 6 years old. And he was all excited because he grew up with, the Jets all over the place. I mean, I think his first onesie was a Jets onesie. But I remember getting him into the stadium. All he was worried about is if he could get a foam finger, because he's seen people on TV with a foam finger. So I'm like, yeah, buddy, you get a foam finger. And we go through all of the motions, get in. We go up the escalators. We're sitting all the way up at the top. And he's just looking around. I'm like, what's the matter, buddy? He's like just taking it all in. And I thought he was excited to like be at a Jet game. And he goes, Daddy, there's a lot of people here. It hit him. Like all those little dots that were moving below, there was all people. Like just something about when I think back to that, that's probably my favorite memory at that old stadium.
Nice. Right.
I mean, if you see him now, he's 6'3", 240 pounds. He looks like he could be playing for the Jets, but you know.
That's awesome. Oh,
Gino's back.
Gino,
right.
welcome back.
All right, sorry about that, guys.
No problem. But so Frank, just to kind of continue off of that, what is your favorite memory inside of the new MetLife Stadium, if you have one?
New MetLife Stadium, overtime win against the Patriots. Eric Decker's touchdown was about 50 or 75 feet in front of us. I mean, it happened right in our end zone. Yeah, I sit in the lower end zone, section 124. And I've got one picture. Usually I'm the guy with the camera taking like a million pictures.
Hey, you got to be that guy.
Yeah. And I seen it coming. I put the camera down on the seat. Somebody had the presence of mind to pick it up and take a picture of me, but it was me and both of my sons. Like, we started with the high fives and nobody knew who to hit first. And it ended up as a huddle, like the three of us just screaming. So, that was my favorite memory at that stadium was that Eric Decker touchdown.
Yep. That's when I hear MetLife, that's kind of like what sticks out to me too, pretty much.
Yeah, that was.
And like you mentioned, like you didn't have like your camera like right then and there. Sometimes like at the Jet games, it's just cool to be in the moment.
Right.
Even like the last Jet game I was at, just like every now and then, just like put the phone down. Like I have plenty of pictures and videos, but just like I was at the Bengal Jet game this year, and I was gonna start taking some pictures, and like my dad just reached over and gave me like a huge hug and everything, and like I'll remember, like nobody will see it, but like that means more to me than anything else. It was just like such a good time being in the moment.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Sometimes you just got to realize why you're there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. Because it's not the same like going back, like watching it, compared to being there and just, feeling it, feeling the energy. Nothing compares to it. Yeah. And Gino's going to experience that because Gino will be at his first Jets game ever.
Yeah.
At the home opener. Yeah. Against Baltimore, September 11th.
Oh, that's gonna be you picked a good one.
And not only that, it's gonna be my 30th birthday. So
oh my God.
When I was working for the Rams, I saw Sanchez and LaDainian Tomlinson and Jason Taylor like on the field when I was a flag guy. So technically, I was working that game, but I was there. But it was in St. Louis. But now this is my first like MetLife. This is like the stuff that I've been like waiting to go to for a long time because I've done that stuff in St. Louis. But everyone tells me all the time that going to a home opener at MetLife is just nuts. So
absolutely,
I had to pick it. I had to pick that for my first game.
Good choice.
Absolutely.
All right. So what you guys been talking about so far, so I can catch up?
We kind of just bouncing around all over the place, like zero structure. But go ahead.
Gino's always the question guy, so I'm like, I have no questions written down here. I'm like, all right, so let's make a show out of this. Nothing better than off the fly. But so Gino, I have to tell you, Frank told me a little secret that I cannot let you in on. So sorry about that.
What?
So sorry, you missed out. But that's all right. If you go back and watch the video later on, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. But so yeah, I asked Frank. We went over his cooking a little bit.
There you go.
We went over his what was his favorite memory at the old Jet Stadium, as it's only going to be referred to from here on out, and MetLife. So you could take it away wherever you want.
Okay, so you guys are part of this group in Canton. I know the fans, and I know a lot of people want to know more about that. People have been asking me, so what is this fan group that you're a part of?
It's called the PFUFA, Pro Football's Ultimate Fan Association.
Gotcha. Love that.
I'll be honest with you, I never heard of it before 2016.
Nice.
I was on the set of Chopped, and if you watch my episode, season 31, episode 2, there's a girl I'm competing against, Catherine Hyland. All right. She goes by the fan moniker Bronco Babe. And like when you watch Chopped, it's like an hour-long episode, right? But we filmed that from, I mean, I got there at like 6:30 in the morning, and I didn't get home until like close to midnight. It was like 11:30. So like you film all day long for that 1 hour. So in between the takes, and like you can't just walk around when you're done filming a particular segment, be it like a cooking session or a judging session or whatever. They sit you with your backs to the judges, and you just kind of sit there, and you're not supposed to be moving around. They don't want you talking too much because everything's wired for sound, and you could be screwing up something that's going on in the background. So like we just kind of sat there whispering to each other or whatever, talking a little bit, and she's telling me about it, and I'm like, man, how great can it be? I never heard of it, you know. Long and the short of it was there was only one Jet fan in at that point, and it was a fellow by the name of Billy Kay. Who once he got inducted was just like a year before he ended up retiring and moving to Florida. So he wasn't around to really like to publicize it, you know?
Oh, okay.
And she reaches out to him at their annual reunion in 2016 and says, you got to call this guy. He'll be a perfect fit. I just met him on Chopped.
Right.
And so Billy's like, all right, I'll reach out for him. So when he ends up calling me, he tells me a little bit about the organization, pretty much the same stuff that Catherine told me about. And then he says, hey, would you mind just send me a couple pictures of yourself at like Jet games? I'm just curious to see where you sit, what you look like, or whatever. So I'm like, yeah. I sent him a couple text message pictures. He calls me back in like 20 seconds, and he's screaming on the top of his lungs, you're the guy. I've been asking the Jets about you for years. They want to give me your name. But since like 2010 or 11, I'd been filming like hype videos for the Jets. Like they play them on like, it's third down. We need to stop, so they'll have a video to build excitement.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I filmed those a few times, a couple of years in a row. I did them, and he had been watching them on the screen saying to himself, like, I got to find that guy. He'll be good for the PFUFA. And then we ended up meeting. So yeah, there's a whole process getting inducted into the PFUFA. There's a draft process. Like Billy gave me his draft card, right?
Yeah.
And you have until till the clock strikes 0 on the Super Bowl that year to get your application in and submitted. If you don't get it in by the end of the Super Bowl, you're out. You got to wait till the following year. So I got through most of the application pretty quick. It's just biodata, they're asking about you, a little bit about yourself, but then you have to write an essay. And what's real important to them is that they want to see that you're more than just a football fan, right? You have to be involved in some charity. You use your pseudo celebrity status for a little bit of good. You know what I mean? You do some things to help out your community and stuff, So I wanted to make sure I wrote it up nice. And work is work. You're busy, you really don't have time. But I knew I had a couple weeks off around the holidays that year. So I said, all right, I'm going to be off those 2 weeks. I'll do it then. I have until the Super Bowl. I'll still get it in plenty of time. So Billy panicked when I didn't have it in soon enough. He ended up drafting another fella. He goes by the fan moniker Broadway Joe. It's Joe Carlson. And Joe ended up getting his in before I did. And the rules are clear, only one fan per team per year. So it came down to the tiebreaker was his application was in before mine. Fair enough. And at this point, I'm still not sold on the PFUFA. I haven't been to the reunion yet. Only people I know are Catherine and Billy via telephone,
Right.
So I'm like, what's the big deal? I'll wait another year. I don't care. It is what it is. Well, Billy ends up coming down with stage 4 cancer. And Gino.
Oh, he's gone again.
Well, he'll be watching this in review because this is a long story. I'm not doing the whole thing.
Oh, that's fine. Keep going. That's fine.
So Billy comes down with stage 4 cancer, and he starts calling me all the time. And he's telling me, hey, don't worry about it. I've been talking to people in the PFUFA. You're a shoo-in this year. Don't worry. I'm going to get you in if it's the last thing I do before I die. I said, don't talk like that. You're gonna beat this thing. Always. I'm a Jet fan. I'm a forever optimist. You know what I mean? I'm convincing him he's going to be fine.
Right.
And he's literally calling me 2-3 times a week for like a year. And he's got me convinced he's going to be at the reunion in August. He talked to his doctors, and the doctors told him he'd be fine to just go for the weekend as long as he came right back. Meanwhile, the guy's in the hospital for like 6 months, and he's telling me the doctor's going to give him a weekend pass. I'm like, maybe. I don't know. It's making sense to me. He's telling me that he's going to do it. Well, why would he lie to me? But I guess the doctors were not expecting him to be alive that long. So, so he keeps telling me. So one thing leads to another. I show up in Canton. I introduce myself. Billy's not there. I'm looking around, and, is he coming? Oh, he said he was coming. Everybody's, under the belief that he was going to make it out for the weekend. And then it gets real busy because your first year, you got to do some, you don't want to call it hazing, but it's kind of like one of the things we do with the PFUFA is we get the list of school supplies that are needed for the city of Canton, right?
Okay.
And we buy like 500 backpacks, and we fill them with every bit of the school supplies that the kids would need for the year.
That's amazing.
And we give them out to the families that need it, at the J. Babe Stern Community Center in Canton. And
awesome.
it's set up like a Halloween, like a trick-or-treating type thing. And the kids go around table to table, and they get some little tchotchkes that we give them from each team. They, at the end, on the way out, they pick up their backpack or whatever, right? So things like that. Like, we got to stuff the backpacks. We got to get everything ready, and you're constantly running around the whole weekend. You really don't have time to sit back and enjoy what's going on.
Okay.
So on the final day, they call us into the office, and they let us know we all made the cut. So everybody's, my group had the name the Mighty 14, but the IG in Mighty was 18 because, it was the year was 2018, and it was 14 of us, right? So we're all high-fiving each other, whatever. I take my phone out, and I go to call Billy to let him know that I got in. And I'm dialing, the phone's ringing. And a woman by the name of Cherie, she goes by Miss Purr, she's a Panthers fan. She comes in and she's like crying. And I thought she was just excited for us that we got inducted, And she goes, Frank. I'm like, yeah, we made it. And she goes, yeah, it's Billy. I said, yeah, I'm calling him. And like, I show her my phone, it's ringing. And she goes, no, we just got the call. He passed away about a half hour ago. So, that one gets me a little choked up, because you think about how many times in your life somebody says to you, oh, that'll be the last thing I do before I die or whatever. And here, this guy makes this promise that he's going to make sure I get in if it's the last thing he does before he dies. And then I get in, So I made a promise to Billy. That had I got inducted, I would throw the biggest tailgate that the PFUFA has ever seen the following year, right? Because as a PV, a potential veteran, you can't really cook or do anything. You're busy doing all of the charity stuff,
Right.
So when I showed up in 2019, they have a Friday night tailgate contest. You get a bucket put in front of your table, and you just put your food out, and there's 32 tailgates set up, one from every team. And you go over by the bar, and you can buy these little chips, and whose ever food you like the most, you throw the chips into their bucket, right? And the tailgate's supposed to go from like 6 p.m. till whatever, 11, midnight, something like that. Well, by 8, 9 o'clock, the people that are selling the chips are coming around checking the buckets. I'm like, is everything all right? And they're like, yeah. We're just trying to figure something out. Okay. They come back about 10 minutes later and say, yeah, the contest is over. I'm like, well, I'm only on the third course here. I got 2 more to come, And they're like, all right, yeah, we'll talk about it later. Well, in second place, we had the Saints, and they had like 22 coins in their bucket. I don't know who came after them, but my bucket was filled to like the top. So
wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I shut the contest down early because everybody, yeah, it was something else.
That's
But
amazing.
I made a promise to Billy. I had to show off a little bit, So
Right? Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a touching story.
Yeah.
That really is, man. That's awesome.
I wish Gino was here to hear it. I feel like
Yeah,
he
he's
can
gonna have to go back and watch it.
Yeah. You know what's funny though?
That's
I don't think you'll ever have two Jet fans wondering where Gino is. Think about that for a minute.
Probably not. He's told me in St. Louis he's come across like 6 Jets fans, like in St. Louis. But
No,
maybe if he goes missing at MetLife or something, they'll be like, where's that guy? I'll be like, I don't know, my partner's gone.
I was referring to the other Gino that we got rid of, Smith.
Yeah. Both. Geno Smith, good old Seahawks legend, I guess is he'll be referred to from now on.
Yeah.
Anytime, I don't know.
Anytime your offensive linemen move out of the way and let somebody break your jaw, there's a problem there.
We've come such a long way. So I do want to ask you. So from then to like now, like we're heading into we won the draft as we do every year, but this year I really think we did.
No, this year this was legendary. I didn't expect anything even close to that.
So who was your favorite draft pick? Do you have like one that like you that you wanted before the draft and like you really?
You know what happened? I got brainwashed by all the stuff you see on social media. My first instinct, the first time this question came up, I guess it was in early March. We were doing, was it? It might have been on our Twitter space. We do a Twitter space usually every Sunday, and people were asking me, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And my first instinct was, we got to go corner. And everybody's like, oh, you like the sauce. You like the sauce. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's really where we needed the most help on defense, I thought. Right. But then you start having all these analysts telling you how, the Jets are going to trade back and they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And I'm like, maybe there's something to that. Maybe.
Yeah.
And they had me sold on that kid, KT, that Russian. Yes. I'm like, yep, that makes
Kayvon Thibodeau. Yep.
They're like, they're going to trade back. They're going to grab him. They're going to grab whoever. I think DK Metcalf was still on the table at the time. Like, we're going to grab him. Like
Debo.
They had me brainwashed. My gut instinct was corner, but I let it go. So when it actually happened, I was like, oh my God. And as you've seen, if you watch the draft, I lost my damn mind. I started screaming like a goddamn madman.
Yeah.
It was, that was out of control. And what made that even more fun was that I had broken my phone earlier that day, and like it was functioning, like I could feel it vibrating, but the screen wouldn't light up. So I'm at the draft, and I have no way of knowing what's going on. And when you're in the pit down there in the inner circle, you can't see the board. You don't know who's left. You don't know, unless you brought a scorecard with you, you don't really know what's going on anywhere else.
Right.
But my phone ends up coming back on at I guess it was probably the next day. It might have been 1 a.m. or something. I don't know. I had 496 text messages.
Oh, Jesus.
Everybody under the sun that was watching the draft starts texting me. Like Fireman Ed's telling me, hey, Frank, nice show at the draft day, buddy. It was like,
yeah.
Dude, it was crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe how much they put me on TV, but it wasn't even about me. It was about all the moves that Joe Douglas made. I mean, he was just absolutely
unleashed.
That was absolute stellar performance. I can't remember seeing any team walking away from such a haul on any one given draft.
Absolutely.
All right.
Is he back?
Dude, I'm in my neighbor's basement. I got to find a way,
Oh, man.
Okay, I'm for Frank. This is my favorite guest so far, so I'm doing it all.
Oh, this is awesome.
I respect it.
Oh man. Hey, I'm probably not the only one that this has happened to. It's probably
It probably is the only one.
You think so?
I don't know, but the acoustics, the magic.
It's
just echoey.
Is it echoey? Oh.
It's awesome though.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hello.
Hello. There we go.
You sound like Joe Nolan.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
man,
that's
what a
good
show.
for the Jets. First down.
There you go. Yeah, I love that. I love hearing that. Oh my
yeah.
goodness. Anyways, I'm gonna continue with my questions. At the draft, okay, at the draft, you were there. I saw you, Garrett Wilson, everything. You even made dinner for Sauce Gardner. Like,
Yes.
okay, tell me that experience because I've watched it many times. I love you in it. I love the old school jersey that you had on too. What experience was that for you?
I tell you, the draft was crazy. We were just starting to talk about that a little bit.
Can I cut you off for 2 seconds? Gino, can you shut your mic off or something?
Who?
Your mic? It's very echoey.
Oh.
What about now?
That's a little
I
better.
think that's better.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's because you're in a basement.
I'm in a basement. That's why.
Okay. All right, so we're doing it live from a basement.
Listen, don't worry about it. We've all been in a basement for the past 5 or 6 years, but we're breaking out.
Yeah.
We're breaking out big time this year.
I agree.
Yeah, the draft, there was another long story behind that one. They had sent me, the NFL sent me an invite to the Inner Circle.
That's awesome.
I want to say I think it was before the Super Bowl. I think it was the end of January. But I didn't even answer the email because I'm unvaccinated. I had COVID so many times before the vaccine came out. My antibody levels are like through the roof. So they told me it's not safe to get a vaccine. And at the time, you needed to be vaccinated to go to any NFL venue. I shouldn't say anyone. MetLife didn't hold that up, but all of the other like games are games, but the things that were just sanctioned by the NFL, like if you wanted to go to a Pro Bowl, you had to be vaccinated. Anything that was, I think the combine, you had to be vaccinated, like all that stuff. Yeah, so I didn't even answer because I was pissed off because like here's a once in a lifetime opportunity to be in the Inner Circle and I can't do it.
Right.
Fast forward a few weeks, I get a call from a buddy of mine, Joe Mano, another PFUFA guy. He calls me up and goes, "Hey, dude, I got 2 tickets to the Inner Circle. Are you interested?" I said, "Bro, I didn't even answer the email they sent me because I knew I couldn't go." He said, "Why can't you go?" I said, "I'm not vaccinated." He goes, "They just dropped the vaccine requirement." I said, "You got to be kidding me." I said, "Let me try calling the Jets and see if I could get my tickets back. And then there'll be 4 of us there in the Inner Circle, you know." I called them up and like, "No, sorry, it's a very limited number. When we didn't hear from you, we moved on to the next guy." So I'm like, no harm, no foul. I called Joe back. I'm like, "Hey, bud, I'll take you up on that ticket. You know, I could use it." He calls them and gives my information, and then they call me back apologizing. "Oh, I don't want you to think we were trying to cut you out." I'm like, "I get it. You snooze, you lose, but I'm getting to go anyway."
Right.
I'm pretty sure they were happy that I went because I put on a little bit of a show.
Not only did you put on a show, you were there with the JETS, Jets with Garrett Wilson. That was awesome.
They made me into a GIF. If you take out your cell phone, if you take out your cell phone and you hit the GIF button and search Jets, I'm like the 10th one down or something. It's crazy.
Wow.
But
Awesome.
yeah, they cut me out a few times because I did have at one point I had my Gotham City Crew hat on, and you know, it's not an NFL brand, so that wasn't in it. And then I gave Jermaine, I gave him a Gotham City Crew hat. So when he came off the stage, he shook my hand. I said, "Hey, welcome to Gotham City." He was like, "All right, man, all right." I gave him the hat. I was hoping he kind of put it on because you're not going to blur him out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I guess he was instructed not to take candy from strangers. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
man.
can see the Jets. You see that man? Do not take a hat from him.
Yeah, but I tell you what, by Friday I couldn't even speak. It was horrifying. In fact, when they picked Brees, I couldn't even. I tried. I just couldn't get it going. It was just, it was bad news. But it was really cool. It was, and as I was telling Liam earlier, you know, when you were walking over to the basement,
He was top of the fence.
I had broken my phone earlier that day, so I had no idea what was going on. I could feel it vibrating, so I knew there was like messages coming in. Just the screen wouldn't work. Well, the screen ended up coming back on either really late that night or early the next morning, and it was like 496 text messages, and most of them were like pictures of TV screens, like showing me like, look, you were all over the place. So I couldn't figure out why when I was walking back to my room after I left the grounds where the draft was being held, people are like screaming for me. Like, there he is. Hey, what's going on, my man? I'm like, hey, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah,
I don't know who you are. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of explained it a little bit. And then the boys at Barstool had some fun with me.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The problem was they used like a fisheye lens or something to get everybody in. And I'm standing in the front. And when I put my arms out to the side, he said I was 5'5" and a 7'5" wingspan. So the first thing I did when I got home, I could still see the mark on the wall. I came home, I measured myself. I'm like, did I shrink? No, I'm still 5'10". And I never bothered to measure my wingspan. So it's actually disappointingly smaller than Big Cat thought. It's only 75 inches. So
For those who were wondering.
I thought maybe I missed out on like an NBA career or something, you know? I mean, who knew? But,
you had this hidden talent all along.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely crazy. And then, a few weeks, maybe a couple months go by. I guess it was about a month or so. We ended up getting contacted to attend his first autograph signing as a pro, and they asked us if we would throw a tailgate. So Lou brought out the bus, I brought out the trailer, and I cooked up a few of the staples at the tailgates, like my buttermilk chicken sandwiches with this homemade hot sauce I put on,
Nice.
just some smaller things. But then I wanted to make something special, just for the sauce, and I smoked up some turkey tails.
There you go.
I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, he never had one before. He was like, wow, he couldn't believe it. But we're gonna be doing we're gonna be doing Michael Carter soon too.
Yeah, I heard about Michael
yeah?
Carter. Heard about
Yeah,
Michael Carter.
I think it's July 31st. I'm not sure. I don't have it. Yeah, Mrs. Claus is telling me July 31st.
Oh, cool.
So we're gonna be doing the Michael Carter signing. I have to come up with something special for him too. I reached out to his agent to find out what his favorite food was, but he said, I've seen your video 1,000 times. I'm sure it's gonna be good. I don't care.
Oh, well, there you go.
So we're gonna surprise him with something.
Nice.
So one of my other questions is, how did you get involved with Gotham City Crew? Because I don't really know the whole story, like how Gotham City became what Gotham City is, but what was your journey with that? How did you start?
Yeah, like I've known those guys for years, and once I saw like Claudio started posting as Gotham City Crew, I'm like, oh, this is really cool, because all these other fan bases have an identity, right? Like you get the Hoggets down there in the Commanders now.
Yeah,
it makes me giggle.
Now.
But and then you got Ram Central out in LA. You got the
Bills
Chargers,
Mafia.
Right?
Bills Mafia. Yeah.
That's a real Bills fans do not like them. But anyway.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
And the Patriot douchebags, right?
Yeah. But but like the Browns, you had the dog patch. They got the Elf Pack is another group of Browns fans. Like, there's always somebody's got something, We never really had an identity like that. And I had my own thing going on in another lot, so I ended up reaching out for him, and we sat down. That's got to be 5-6 years ago. 5 or 6 years ago, and we talked about it, And my problem was, I mean, as you would suspect, being a Jet fan, I'm loyal to a fault. Right. So I couldn't just walk away from the guys I was tailgating with. You know what I mean? Right. So I tried to convince them, hey, why don't you come over to where we are and we'll try to put it together. So we did that one time. Got a little sloppy, because people have real estate staked out. You know what I mean? Like there's areas in the parking lot where like, all right, that's where they go, and that's where I go. Like everybody's got their own spots. So when I bring a group of another 150, 200 people over to where I was, it wouldn't work out. We couldn't do it. So we stayed friends, and we did a lot of things. They actually came out to Canton with me when Kevin Mawai was getting inducted.
I love that.
Yeah, so we actually led the Jets chant for
Nice.
the introduction for Kevin Mawai. Yeah, it was me, Lou, and Claudio. Awesome. But yeah, so I was telling Liam earlier, after COVID happened, everybody took a hit. Like, you had people that just didn't come back, and the people that did come back didn't have the enthusiasm that they had in prior seasons.
True.
So, like, if I was going to make the jump, this was the time. You know what I mean? My tailgate, it wasn't like a steady crowd all the time. I mean, I would see, 100, 200 people throughout the day, but it would always be like a group of 50 or 60 people. They'd pop in, hang out for a little bit, get a little something to eat, maybe go see their friends over there. It was always, you had your core group, and then you had a bunch of transient,
Mm-hmm.
And then when that core group was depleted, that's when I said, all right, it's
Making a switch.
Yeah, we got to do it. So I finished out the season with them last year, and it worked well, because
Right.
they had all of the team spirit, the enthusiasm, the safe haven for fans. Like, you could have guys from any other team coming in. Nobody's getting harassed. It was just a good group of people, having a good time. But the one thing missing was, like, they had basically just like I hate saying there's such a thing as like standard tailgate food, but it was like the staples that you would see at normal tailgates.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I kind of take things in a different direction. My stuff is it's unique to say the least. Like, I give you a sneak preview. This year, something that you're gonna see a lot of is I make my own sausage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you would never guess by looking at me, right? Blue eyes, everything else. But my grandmother's from India, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you would never think, like, this guy's part Indian. But I grew up with an Indian grandmother, and so I cook curry, right? So I'm like, how can it comes out like a stew, you can't really serve that at a tailgate. So I came up with this idea to make a curry sausage. So I took grandma's recipe, grind my own pork, mix it all together, shoot it into some natural casings. And yeah, it worked. I had my doubts at first, but then, I grill it up, split it down the middle, crisp it a little bit, serve it on some naan with some diced onion and pepper. And
Right.
I make my own, let's call it honey mustard, even though there's no honey in it, but it's like a sweet mustard sauce, right?
That's good.
And you put that all on top of that, and it's going to change your perspective on shit. It's not normal. It's
Right.
really good. But yeah, I mean, I make the buttermilk chicken sandwiches, if not every week, every other week. I make tons of different empanadas, but they're not what you would expect. Like, you could pick up an empanada at my tailgate thinking, oh, you're going to have a beef empanada or chicken empanada. You bite into it, it's an apple pie.
I
Right?
love that.
I'll
I
have
love that stuff. Though.
Yeah, I'll do like pumpkin pie, apple pie, sweet potato pie. I'll put that all into empanadas. I make chicken pot pies. And I mean, I'll make like bacon cheeseburger, right?
Yeah.
And like
All out.
you're
love
looking
that
at it and you're thinking like, oh, it's a regular empanada. You bite into it, and you're eating a bacon cheeseburger,
Yeah. Yeah. I
What
love
else?
that stuff.
Ribs.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is there like one thing? Do you have like a favorite food to cook for a tailgate?
It doesn't really matter to me when I'm cooking. Like all the stuff I cook, I don't eat much of it. Like, you would never guess judging by the size of me, but it's like I get so into it. Like, I'll cut a little piece and check like quality control, but I don't really eat it. So as far as cooking it really, there's nothing really favorite. The one thing that jumps out at me when I cook it is my apple explosion. It's kind of like you took a recipe for barbecue sauce and a recipe for apple pie and mashed it together.
Oh, okay.
And I'll marinate ribs in it, or I'll marinate pork loin in it. When I do the pork loin, I'll slice it fairly thin, stack it on I like to use brioche bun, and then I'll hit it with that same marinade. I'll reduce it. I'll cook it into a sauce, and I serve it with raw apple on top.
Oh,
People are like, you put a raw apple on a sandwich, you know, but when you bite into it, that crunch from the apple, the cool crisp apple with the savory sauce, get a little cayenne on the back end just to wake you up, you know it's there.
Yeah.
But it gets me when so many people like try it for the first time and they're like, this is the best thing I've ever eaten in my life. And I'm like, you know, you're like 40 something years old. I mean, I'm sure you had something. No, this is the best thing I've ever eaten. Okay. You know,
Yeah.
so,
Glad I could do it for you. Yeah.
Right.
But I kind of get a kick out of that one. Like when people try something I make and they're like, I've never had anything like this. Well, that was the idea. You know, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
It's your craft. It's your thing. It's your craft. Now,
Yeah.
So my other question is, Flight 22 was one of my favorites. I've been looking forward to it for about a year. How was the premiere? How was the experience? Because every time I watch Flight 22, I've said to Liam so many times, I want to cry. I want to fist bump someone. I want to body slam someone. I am ready to go. When your promo hit with you, you're like, oh my God, that was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what I love. So how was that experience?
Well, cool. I tell you what, I was just happy to be back at Atlantic Health. That was the first time I was there since 2019. You know, COVID shut everything down and we weren't allowed back, you know, and that's a place I was there a few times a month, you know.
True. Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough to be in the Jet Fan Hall of Fame. I get a lot of invites that other people don't, you know. So like I was at Nick Mangold's retirement press conference. You know, Joe Douglas's hiring. Same thing with I don't like bringing this guy up, but Adam Gase. Remember the taco thing, right? All those cameras, and then I was the first guy right behind those cameras. I was 20 feet away from the guy. So I was out there all the time, and then all of a sudden it's like nothing. In 2020, they sent a video crew over here, and Nick Mangold and I did something they call Tailgate Center to see how like big tailgaters were adjusting to the no tailgate season. So I cooked up some food for them. You know, Nick, we did a thing like this, like a Zoom type thing, or you know, and you know, it was good talking to Nick again. I usually see him quite a bit, you know, throughout the season, but yeah, so getting back to Atlantic Health, it felt right. And I just wasn't really focused on the fact that I'm probably going to be in this thing, you know, because it was about the whole thing leading up to the draft and everything. And they opened up with the premiere we got to see was episode 4, the day of the draft. And it didn't even hit me until, you know, Claudio and Louis ended up getting in. You know, it was originally for me, it was like a Hall of Fame call. Like, hey, we're doing this premiere. You want to come in? So I didn't bother checking any other avenues of how can you get into this thing, because I got a call like a day or two before. It was like a surprise to me. But they have a rewards program at the stadium.
That's really cool.
Right. So like when you buy your tickets, you get so many points, you get to a game early, scan a sponsor's QR code. You know, there's different ways of getting points. So they use their points to buy tickets to this. And, you know, we're there and my son RJ's there with me. And like, I didn't think anything of it. Like, we're just back at Atlantic Health, you know, and there's a couple other Hall of Famers there. I was excited to see them. And we're sitting in the you know, in the film room, and Louis is sitting next to me and he's like this, holding his phone, and he's like, "You ready?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, you want to post something on social media?" He goes, "No, are you ready for your debut?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Dude, you're gonna be all over this thing." I'm like, "You got to be kidding me!" Like, it wasn't even in my head. I wasn't even thinking about it, but it was pretty exciting for me, because it's like, it's one thing when you see yourself on TV and you giggle a little bit, but it's something else when your friends are a little bit proud of you. You know what I mean? And like just seeing my guys, Louis and Claudio, and as soon as I showed up on the screen, they jumped up and started clapping for me and shit. And then all the other people in the room realized, because I'm wearing the same Walker jersey that I was wearing at the draft. I don't go anywhere without it. And except on SteamYard, because the damn thing turns to bricks with this green screen. but yeah, so like all my friends sitting around, they start chanting Frank or whatever, it was kind of fun, And then
I love that.
When we came out and they're asking us for a reaction, I said, "You want a reaction? I'll give you a reaction." And they just, I went crazy.
That's awesome.
I love that, man. So I think so. My next question is after this. After seeing Flight 22 live, and I'm guessing you've seen the whole series.
Yes.
That whole thing, and then the season's going to be starting September 11th and so on and so on. Did that give you like, okay, like we're for real now? Like we're taking things to the next level. Like we ain't messing around anymore. Like what was that kind of feeling for you, and what do you think the Jets will do this season, in your words?
Yeah, well, honestly, I'm the guy that drank the Kool-Aid, and even the year we had 2 wins, I'm over here screaming how we're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know. Half of it's a gag. Half of it is just, fingers crossed, maybe we do better than I hope.
Yeah.
But after watching that whole documentary, let's call it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yep.
I will run not through a digital brick wall, but an actual one.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Let me throw a caveat in here. This way I don't got people busting my chops if things don't work out for me. But number one, if these guys that we drafted can live up to their expectations, even 75% of the way, even not 100%. I mean, you got a guy like Sauce, never gave up a touchdown in college.
Since high school. Yeah, since high school.
Right,
yeah.
right. So you can't expect that going into the NFL. You can't. But if he could just, he doesn't have to be Revis, but if he's just a solid corner. And, the guys we have coming back that might have been on the injured reserve, like Becton, right? If he could hold up to what he was supposed to be. And then on top of all of that, if they can play together as a unit.
That's the biggest thing. There's
zero reason for us to not make the playoffs. We should be able to make, as much as I like to believe we're going to run the table and win the whole damn thing, realistically, we got to be double-digit wins. We have to be.
Yeah.
We have to be.
Yeah.
Do you have a certain number in mind?
11.
Okay.
11 and 6?
I think 11's doable.
Okay.
I think 11's doable. Just
do you
want
to go down this? Go ahead.
Just think about like last year. We were a lackluster team, right? But look at who we beat last year.
Yeah, the Bengals and
a team that played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
right.
Agreed.
And we beat them with a second-string quarterback.
True that.
And then we beat a lot of the teams that we were supposed to beat too. We beat Jacksonville. We beat the Texans. Teams that we were supposed to beat.
And dude,
so that gives me faith too.
And I don't care what anybody tries to tell you. We sandbagged the shit out of the Buccaneers. They couldn't do anything for 3 quarters. 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden, what happened? You know what they said? They said, okay, we made our point. Let's preserve the draft pick. Take it easy, boys. That's my take on it. I'm taking that one to the grave. They let that game go. It was a
fun game.
It was a really fun game.
Yeah.
I feel like that's been the Jets' problem for a long time now. Even going back to like the Todd Bowles era, like the historically the team has like struggled finishing games. They've put on like a lot of good performances, but come mid to ending of the fourth quarter, they just seem to blow it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially those Tea Party sons of bitches. But that's because all of a sudden the phantom penalties come out. But we're not going to get into that. I don't want to ruin
No. Right.
But
Gino, do you happen to have the schedule in front of you?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Do you want me to pull it
I
up?
was gonna see if you wanted to go game by game. Would you be down for that, Frank?
Yeah, we'll give it a
game
shot.
by game, or
Let's see.
All right. Oh, Ravens week 1.
Yeah, that's a win.
Okay.
That's a win. We're not gonna put up an
I
L
agree.
with Gino's first game. No way.
I agree.
And then you got Bengals.
Yeah.
Is it Bengals or Browns?
I think it's Browns week 2.
Yeah, let me see. I just had the thing. Yes.
Pretty sure it's Browns though. Yep, Browns and then Bengals.
Yeah, Browns. That's a win.
Definitely. Who knows who their quarterback's going to be? Jacoby Brissett?
Now I heard they might be picking up Cam Newton, so you never know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Right. And then
Doesn't matter. Like you said.
Bengals.
Bengals will be tough because they're gonna have a bone to pick after last year.
Oh yeah.
So I think that'll be a close one, but I think they might take us this time.
Okay, so that's 2-1 right now.
Steelers.
We win.
3-1.
Dolphins.
We win.
At home or away? Well, it doesn't matter, I guess, but
I think it really doesn't matter if it's home or away for us, because those are winnable games. I feel like
We sweep the Dolphins. We split with the Bills.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I suspect we sweep the Pats this year.
oh, okay.
I like that because Packers and Broncos back to back, weeks. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah. That's going to be rough.
I'm really excited for the Seahawks game. I really want to see us, run the ball down Jamal Adams' throat, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you. And then the Vikings and Lions. What do you think about those games?
Yeah, I think we could take the Lions.
I think so too. Vikings.
But
I think
Vikings
Yeah.
could be a tough one.
Yeah, Vikings is a no give up team. Like they'll run
Yeah.
you till the end. And the Lions have something to prove this year, just like the Jets do. So I think that's going to be a good game, in my opinion. I think we should still win. And then we got the Seahawks and Dolphins as their last 2 games. That'd be great what we can do with the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But Dolphins, I agree with you. Like I know we've been talking about this, all the time with the Dolphins, but like that'd be the cherry on top.
Yeah. Because I don't know, like, how you are with Twitter. The Dolphins' Twitter is just, like the hate, like, towards the Jets fans. It's been real this past offseason.
You know what the sad thing is? All of those fans, they live like here. Like if you go down to Hard Rock, the place is empty. You go buy a nosebleed and then sit behind the Jets bench. You just walk down. There's nobody there. It's unbelievable. I mean, I've been to games down there where you had more Jet fans than Dolphins fans in the stadium. It's unbelievable. And then you get these guys posting on Twitter and Instagram and everything else talking about, there's going to be a takeover at MetLife. Good luck with that. Right. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yep.
85,000 seats. I don't think there's 85,000 Dolphins fans in the world. And
I don't think so either.
I agree with you, dude. And I know 2 Bama Dolphin fans that were like my old friends, and they were like, I'm a true Dolphins fan. I'm like, you became a fan last week.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Exactly.
And Tua, I not even being like an unbiased fan, I don't think Tua is the guy for them. I don't think Tua is a good quarterback. I don't.
Yeah.
But Frank, so besides MetLife, what is your favorite stadium to travel to if you had to pick one?
And you traveled a bunch. Me and you have talked.
Yeah, I've been a few. I'll tell you my least favorite, SoFi. They wouldn't let me in because I wasn't vaccinated, so I stayed in the parking lot.
Oh, okay.
I was out in San Diego for a convention, and a guy that I was traveling with was a lifelong Rams fan that had never been to a Rams game, any NFL game for that matter, because he was a Rams fan living out here. His dad was a big baseball guy, so they used to go to plenty of Yankee games and Met games, whatever. And football was at home. He would host, football Sunday at his house. So when he told me that he'd never been to a game, I called up Iron Ram, a PFUFA Ram contingent out in LA.
Right.
And I said, hey, where do we meet you for the tailgate? I'm coming up. So we drove a couple hours north. He bought his ticket online on the way up. Another guy that was with us bought a ticket to go in with him. Not really a football fan, but he's like, I'll check it out. Brand new stadium, whatever. And then, I hung out in the parking lot. And then apparently there's some like small casino next door. I didn't even know about that when I got there, but they had like a bar restaurant in there. So I watched the game in there while those guys were in the game. But looked like a nice place, but they wouldn't let me in, so I gotta hold against them. I would have to say though, outside of JetLife Stadium, it would have to be Green Bay.
Everyone, that's a very common answer.
Everyone keeps saying
Yeah,
Gino, we're gonna have to take the trip. We're gonna have to take a trip there.
I think we
just because of the history, man. Like they've been playing on that same patch of dirt for 100+ years.
Yeah, and
like
the chairs and stuff. There's no chairs. It's just
so
at an actual football game in bleachers too.
Right.
Did you do their Hall of Fame like tour and everything too?
Oh yeah,
like that's awesome.
They kicked me out of there too because right at the end, they introduced me to the guy mowing the lawn. Apparently, he's like a local hero out there because that's real grass or whatever, and he's like he's been doing it forever or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And then they start pointing out these acoustic panels, right?
Yeah.
That are all around the stadium. And they start bragging about how, it helps our Go Pack Go chant echo and makes it louder. And so they cheat by installing these panels to make it sound louder. So I said, all right, let's test them out. And I gave them a chant that they probably weren't ready for. And unbeknownst to me, there was probably a few hundred more Jet fans that were taking, like, you go out on a tour of 30 or 40 people, and then the tours leave like every 10 or 15 minutes, So you can't really see everybody else, but they're inside the stadium somewhere. And once I let it out, and let's face it, I'm not exactly quiet when I do a Jets chant. And then they give me this turbo boost with these acoustic panels. Well, all the other Jet fans that were in the stadium, they start doing it. And then the guy goes, you know what? That's the end of your tour. I'm going to have to ask you to leave. And then a couple of my friends did some Lambo leaps into the stadium, and then that clinched it. Like they showed us the door real quick. But fuck them.
Frank never changed. Please don't ever change, man.
Don't change. That's freaking awesome. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing. I love hearing stories like that. And my question is, so I've been a Jets fan since I was 9. Liam's been a Jets fan since he was a kid too. What made you be a Jets fan? I'm guessing you're around the area, but why do you love the Jets so much? Like,
I told him earlier, there's no explaining it. My mom's theory is since I was an infant, my favorite color was green. Yeah. I just gravitate towards anything green. But I mean, there's other green teams, but I just went with the Jets. But I mean,
and we're so fortunate to have you as a fan. We truly are, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's what everybody says, except for the people that sit right next to me. Like they need a lot of Tylenol by the end of the game. I don't hold too much back. Somebody wanted to try to convince me instead of being Santa to be like Hannibal Lecter, like have that like mask over my face, so I couldn't be as loud. But
I'll tell you what, anybody ever gives you a hard sitting next to you gives you a hard time, I will gladly sit next to you. And I will have the time of my life.
I'll gladly be your bodyguard. I'll gladly be your bodyguard.
Look, Mrs. Claus just said, "Do you think so? Go ahead. You could go to every game." She can't take it. She has stock in like Tylenol.
I was gonna say, is Mrs. Claus the one complaining?
I love that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I love that.
That is great stuff.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you I got one more question, and then
sure.
Liam, you can take it away. Being a part of Gotham City crew, with Louis and what was the other guy's name again? I forgot.
Claudio.
Claudio.
Did you have to go through extensive stuff to get into Gotham City crew, or was it just one of those things where, hey, come on over, or hey, let's investigate this guy a little bit,
Well, we touched on a little bit when you were trying to find a
when he was going to his neighbor's house.
Yeah. When Claudio first came up with the Gotham City crew concept, it grabbed me right away because the Jets really never had an identity to the fan base before. I talked about, the dog pound and the Hogettes and things like that. So that got to me, and then we tried to get together, but it just logistically it didn't work because I wanted them to come over by me. They wanted me to come over by them. And then we ended up making it happen post-COVID last year, for half the season. Yeah. But I mean, we've been friends for a long time. And they're great guys. And again, their heart is in the same place as mine when it comes to like not just the whole Jets thing, but both of those guys do a ton of charity work. Like for example, like before Thanksgiving, right? I'll cook up, hundreds and hundreds of pounds of turkeys with like the local Elks Lodge or whatever to feed the people that aren't going to have a Thanksgiving of their own. So I make like full Thanksgiving meals, and I like, you don't do this to get like nobody knows you do. I've been doing it for years, and nobody knew I was really doing it, and like I'll help. There's an organization called the Giving Tree, and then like Board of Ed and like town council members and stuff. They know who in the community is a little short, for Christmas or whatever. I'll deliver Christmas presents for them. You know what I mean? So like and they do similar things like Claudio, like we were talking earlier about, how much for a tailgate or whatever. It's really, we just split up the expense of the cost of the tailgate. But when we had money left over last year, Claudio drove over to the I think it's called the Father English Food Pantry in Patterson. And he made a substantial donation to them. It was just extra money that we had we didn't spend at a tailgate.
Awesome.
We all support the Marty Lyons Foundation.
Yeah.
Marty Lyons he's a great guy. And what he does for those kids, I mean, and that's like, it's partially out of guilt. I mean, I was blessed with 3 healthy, intelligent children. And I know not everybody is that fortunate, kids are born, they got some problems, and
Absolutely.
And sometimes the problems become too much for them, and they're not going to grow up to be adults. So anything we could do to make their time here easier, I'm all for it, and Marty stepped up and he put his name behind it, and he's doing great things, and it's extremely transparent, that organization. That you could see right through it. It's like, it's in the high 90s, like 96, 98 cents on every dollar goes right to those kids. It's all volunteers. It just so it's beyond football. You know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely,
people know me from like my antics, like screaming in the draft or whatever. But if that draws attention to me in a way that I can help somebody else out, then I'm going to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, look at me. I'm not going to be a movie star tomorrow. You know what I mean? It ain't like I'm trying to get famous. But when people recognize me, I mean, hopefully I post a picture with like one of Marty's kids, on Instagram, and it prompts somebody to say, hey, I could Venmo this guy $5. You know what I mean? You don't gotta make $1 million donation, just little bits, and if it gets a kid to Disney World before it gets them to heaven, then we do it.
How do you take donations through Venmo, or how do you take donations?
Just go to Marty Lyons Foundation.
Okay.
He's got his webpage up there. I direct everything to him just to keep that transparency. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I mean, obviously, if anybody sent me, you could send me 50 cents right now and say, make sure this goes to the Marty Lyons Foundation. I'll get it to him. But it's just better that it's that layer of transparency. You know what I mean? You just drop it in.
Absolutely.
Coming up this season, though, I might be cooking something other than food, and you may see a specific web page tied in with Marty Lyons Foundation, where you just make a donation and you're just going to keep track of what I brought in.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
It might be a little competition between fans. Yeah, it could be me and Louis seeing who's going to bring in more money. I don't know. Could be something like that. Just bragging rights.
It's a great cause. It's a great cause at the end of the day, man.
That's all. That's
awesome. That's awesome. Man.
Whether
I appreciate
you donate it to me or then the guy next to me, it doesn't matter because it's all going to the same spot. But it's just, we're sports fans. We're competitive. You know what I mean? So we can make a game out of raising money, then why not?
Yeah.
And I think I speak for all Jets fans. We're very appreciative of all your work and everything that you do.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I mean, anything I could do to help. It just
absolutely.
I mean, I feel fortunate enough that I get to go to all of the games, and it is what it is. People tell me I'm crazy for all the money I spend and everything else, but it's like, I don't know. It's the only thing. Yeah, it's just
what you live for.
Right.
It's what bleeds. Hey, you bleed green. Your mom
Yeah,
said anywhere
exactly.
green you go, you even bleed it.
You know,
I love that.
but I mean, here I am, 49 years old. I never even had a sip of alcohol, right? So when people bust my chops, like, how could you afford these Jets seats? Think of all the money I save on beer. You know what I'm saying?
And being a Jets fan, that's not easy.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Believe me. I wish there was something to dull that pain.
I can't think of the last time I wasn't bombed by like halftime. You know, I think back to that the game in England, the Jets and Falcons, and it was like 10 o'clock, and I'm like, oh my god, I have work tonight. I gotta stop. But it was just a stressful game, that one.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Yeah, absolutely. But all right, man. So we appreciate it. You know, Gino, anything else before we wrap this up?
Sorry about my delays a lot tonight, guys. We're still working on it. I'd like to give shout outs to Frank, Truman, and then JJ, and then all the fans are around the globe. You know, they're Jets fans. You know, we bleed green all the time. Thank you for the support. Support Frank on whatever he's doing. We just appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas. I'll tell you what, yeah, you might be in for a treat. You mentioned Jet fans around the world. I'm pretty sure Gangrene Germany and Gangrene UK are coming out to that home opener. So
I heard. I've been talking to them, and we're gonna link up and everything. I love those guys. They're so good.
Great bunch of guys. Great bunch of guys.
Yeah.
Here's a funny one. For the road. Funny story for the road. I'm walking in with the Santa stuff on. It's always the last home game before Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And I'm walking in. And that's the one game I really don't get to watch the game because everybody wants to stop and take a picture with Santa and everything else, right? So I'm getting close to the stadium, and I'm like, all right, there's the gate. I'm going to make it in. And some guy grabs me, and he's like, Santa, my family has come all the way from Germany to watch the Jets. Will you take a picture with us? And I said, Deutschland? Jawohl, ja, wunderbar, wunderbar. And he puts his arms around me, and he goes, Santa, sprechen Sie Deutsch? And I said, nein, just as they took the picture. I used 5 German words. The only thing I knew was wonderful, Germany, and no. You know what I mean? And I wish I had a copy of that picture because the looks on their faces was priceless. They just, but.
Oh, man, I love that. I love hearing stories like that.
Great group of guys. But yeah, man, when you post this, if you wouldn't mind, throw like a link to the Marty Lyons Foundation on there. Maybe somebody might see it and be inspired and donate a little.
Definitely
Right.
will. And yeah, we're gonna stop by and see you at the home opener. We're looking forward to that.
Oh, me too.
I can't wait. Oh.
All right, so that's gonna wrap it up. So like I said, if you guys liked the video, this chaotic video, thank you guys for who stuck it out throughout the end. It was definitely a wild episode. We wouldn't have it any other way, though, man. You know, we're true Jets fans. We do anything we can, whether it's going to your neighbor's house or whatever it may be, to talk Jets with our true fans. We love all you guys. So if you like this crazy video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for maybe some more craziness. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So one more time, Frank, where can we find you on social media?
Jet Green Santa on Instagram and just Frank West on Facebook. Twitter, I think, is also Jet Green Santa. I'm not the big social media guy. Louis and Claudio, they twist my arm all the time. Say, you got to post more stuff. I'm like, okay, man. I'd rather be out there doing it than posting about it. But you know, it is important for the guys like yourselves that you can't make every game. At least you could live a little vicariously through me. You know, so absolutely. I'll be a little more conscious.
One more thing before I let you go.
Yes, sir.
And it could be kind of quiet. Is there any chance we could get a Jet chant?
You know there's no quiet. You know there's no quiet. You got your earmuffs on? Mrs. Claus.
I said that out of respect for Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, exactly.
What time is it? All right. I just want to make sure there's no kids sleeping upstairs. All right, you ready?
Okay.
All right, I'll do it quiet. You ready? Jets! Jets!
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much.
I love
that was awesome. Thank you.
I could hear the sirens already. The cops are coming.
All right, everybody. That being said, we're going to wrap that up. Thank you guys for tuning into episode number 34 of the Everything NYJ podcast. It has been a blast as always. Thank you all. Have a good night. Love yous.
Take care.